Welcome to the Just Because Diaries, where real life meets random chats and plenty of mom moments, all while reclaiming joy in the seemingly mundane. I'm Celeste, a mom but also a whole-ass person, navigating the balance of motherhood while rediscovering the joy in doing things just for myself. From the chaos of parenting to the little moments that make life fun, nothing is off limits. So grab a cup of coffee or something stronger, and let's get into it. Today, we're chatting about a Mom's Gone Wild trip to Tennessee, a magical encounter with a firefly, and the hilarious disaster that was our attempt at a redemption camping trip. And later, a Just Because moment where I share why getting back into tap dancing has given me a whole lot more than just a stage performance. If you happen to have been following along on Instagram at the Just Because Diaries, you may have seen in my stories that it has been a very, very eventful couple of weeks for me. First, I headed to Tennessee with one of my very best friends to go visit another one of my very best friends for a super short but very sweet Mom's Gone Wild weekend. Once again, I got to experience the absolute bliss that is traveling through an airport without children. But this time, that experience was made even better because it also included wine, because our plane had to be fixed because the air conditioner was broken. So we decided to head to a nearby bar where the bartender totally hooked us up with what I think was probably the largest pour of wine I have ever received from a bartender in my life, which would have been great, except that we chose the exact wrong time to go to this bar because the moment we were handed our huge pours, our plane began to board again, which meant that we then had to chug our ginormous glasses of wine before they would let us onto the plane. So, that was fun, but it did make for a very relaxing plane ride to Tennessee. Once in Tennessee, we were scooped up by our friend and we just let loose. We had an amazing dinner, and then after that we went to a blues bar where we drank and we laughed and we chatted and we drank some more before we went on to the other bars until we eventually landed in Miranda Lambert's bar where there was a DJ and like 17 bachelorette parties. And then there was us, these three moms who were enjoying a rare girls' night out and dancing our absolute hearts out to the ABBA songs that we had requested because nothing says Nashville like ABBA. And then the DJ gave us a shout out to toddler moms and we just lost our minds. We had so much fun, but we didn't just drink and dance while we were in town. We also rode the sweetest horse ever, and we shopped for cowboy boots, and we ate some more incredible food. And I bought the coolest hat that I've ever owned from a local 17-year-old maker, which was fantastic. But honestly, one of my favorite parts of the entire trip, obviously second to all of the girl time with my friends, was this tiny little moment where I got to experience a firefly for the first time in my life. I have always dreamed of seeing fireflies. And that might sound super weird, but they have always been this really magical thing to me. And we just didn't have them in California. And as far as I know, we don't have them in Colorado either, but I don't know, maybe we do. But anyway, when we saw them in a field, my friend's niece caught one for us. And I didn't know what experiencing a firefly in real life would be like, but I immediately felt like I was a little kid with this childlike wonder. And it just felt so magical to me. Like when I was holding this little bug, it was like I was holding actual magic, and this little bug was just sharing this really special gift with us. I don't know. It was so cool. It was the coolest thing ever for me to experience for the first time, even as a grown-ass 37-year-old adult. But unfortunately, the firefly did seem like it may have been dying. It wasn't moving around a lot or even trying to fly away from us. But in a really weird, morbid way, I think that made it feel even more magical because it felt like it was now an honor that we got to experience the last of this little bug's light. To me, anyway, it felt like a really, really special thing. So I thanked it for sharing its light with us like a weirdo. And then we put it on a fence so that we could leave it in peace. And yes, it also reminded me of Ray, the little firefly from the Princess and the Frog movie. So obviously that made me love it even more. And we'll never know if that little bug did die or if it went on to live its best little firefly life. But if it did pass, I hope that it too found its Evangeline, just like little Ray. So, in all, the weekend in Tennessee was amazing. It went by way too quickly, but it was so much fun just to get to spend time with two of my favorite people. My cup was filled right back up thanks to belly laughs and dropping it low on the dance floor, and just getting to be a version of myself that didn't have to think about snacks or bedtimes for a little while. And we even got handed that little moment of magic in the form of a firefly, which was really nice. But life has a funny way of giving both magic and disaster in the same exact week, because 3 days later, everything went completely to shit. Remember several episodes back how I talked about booking a camping trip at the same campsite that we had a nightmare experience at several years ago, with the hope that this would be a sort of redemption trip? Yeah, well, it was not. It was awful. We left for our trip a few days after I got home from Tennessee, but we had spent a lot of time before then getting everything ready, so we were feeling super prepared, wildly confident, and just very excited for this camping trip. We literally thought that we were about to go have 2 days of relaxation and just like bliss in nature. We were very, very wrong. We packed up all of our stuff, the kids, our dog, Sylvie, and we left the house at exactly Keely's nap time. And with a 3-hour drive ahead of us, we hoped that Keely would fall asleep. Why we hoped this, or thought it might even happen, I'm not sure, because historically, Keely does not nap in the car. It's like she has too much FOMO to sleep in the car, and she just does not do it. So she did not sleep in the car, not for one single minute of that entire 3-hour drive. But that's fine, right? Eventually, we got to our campsite. We set up camp and our tent and all the things, and we were ready to start relaxing. However, Keely was now exhausted and super grumpy. So I thought maybe if I laid down with her in the tent, she would fall asleep. Nope, she would not. She would not nap. And I can't super blame her because we were in a new place with new sounds and like all the sounds, honestly, because tents have zero noise insulation. So no nap again, which meant that by the time dinner came, we had a severely overtired, incredibly grumpy toddler on our hands. But despite that, thankfully, dinner was great. We made nachos and everyone was happy and chilled, and we just absolutely destroyed those nachos. They were so freaking good. I don't know why we've never made those camping before. It was so smart. But anyway, then it came time for Keely's bedtime. By now, you may see a pattern here, and you can probably guess what happens next. So yes, she did not sleep. David tried. I tried for literal hours, and she would just not go to sleep. Eventually, we just had to call it. Keely was overstimulated. David and I were exhausted, and after hours of trying to get her to sleep, she was still wide awake. So at 9:30, we shut everything down, and all of us just piled into the tent for bed for the night. And having everyone in the tent did really help the situation, though, and it didn't take Keely long once we were all in bed. But then David and I couldn't sleep at all. We were both way too worried about Keely, who was sleeping in between us because we didn't bring the pack and play because I didn't think we were going to need it. Big mistake. So she was between us, and neither of us got much sleep at all. So when Keely woke up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 6 a.m., we were not thrilled. And then Miles got up then, too. And you know what you really don't notice until you're surrounded by sleeping strangers in the early hours of the morning inside of a tent with exactly zero noise dampening capabilities? How dang loud your kids are. It was so stressful. David and I were so stressed out. We had barely slept, and trying to get Miles and Keely to just be calm and quiet until a much more reasonable hour was not the easiest task. However, thankfully, before we left, I had the foresight to pack some toys. So I had brought coloring books and stickers. I brought some little toy cars, Play-Doh, just little things that would keep them busy. And they were lifesavers that morning. Both of the kids played with whatever they wanted. They were happy, they were calm and quiet. And David and I got to lay there for a little longer. Not sleeping, mind you, but we didn't have to move or use our brains, which was fantastic considering everything. And David had also woken up with a splitting headache on his birthday, no less. So great start there. 8 a.m. did not come quickly, but it did come, and we could hear people rustling around in the rest of the campground. So we got up and we heated up our breakfast, and David and I decided that there was absolutely no fucking way that we were going to be able to last another full day and night, given how the first night went. So we decided that after breakfast, we would head to the lake and then maybe come back, have lunch, and we would pack up and go home. And being at the lake was actually the most wonderful part of the whole experience. That brief period of time was what we hoped the entire trip would be like. We all relaxed and we had a really nice time playing on the beach, fishing, and just being together happily and calmly. Keely did understandably get tired and grumpy because she did not sleep and she was up so early, but that just meant that she and I had a nice cuddle by the lake for a while, so that was really sweet. But eventually the clouds rolled in and we took that as our cue to go, so we did exactly as we said and we headed back to our campsite, had lunch, and then packed everything up all over again, loaded up the car, and bounced the hell out of there, happily cutting our trip short. It felt like the longest drive home ever, but we did make it home safely, thankfully. And then I ordered us pizza for dinner. We sang happy birthday to David with a little candle and a brownie. And then we all went to bed at like 7 p.m. because all of us were just done. So what was meant to be our redemption camping trip ended up possibly scarring us even more than our first attempt years ago. And we decided that it'll be a year or two at least until we attempt tent camping again. Or maybe we'll just never tent camp again and go and find like a small camper somewhere. But regardless, Keely needs to be a little bit older. Like, why did we think camping with a toddler was going to be easy and amazing? I don't know. But anyway, Miles had a great time. He loved every second of it and wanted to go camping again. So I told him that we would, maybe even this summer. But next time, it would 1000% be in a cabin with walls and beds. Well, my tap performance is this Friday, and I am feeling a little bit nervous. Like I have mentioned before, the last time I performed on a stage was for a sorority thing back in college, so the chances were very, very high that most of the audience was some level of intoxicated and were not paying much attention. So this will be a very different story. But at the same time, I am feeling really proud of myself because I have done absolutely everything I can to prepare and to get myself to this performance on Friday. I have worked so hard in extra rehearsals or just dancing around at home in my socks in the kitchen, which my poor family has got to be so sick of hearing our song. I'm so sorry, family. But all of the work and practice it has taken aside, I have to say that my biggest takeaway, so far anyway, from this class and this experience of getting back into something I used to love has been the women I have met in this class. From the moment I took my first class, the ladies made me feel so welcome. They made me feel like I belonged and like I was home, and I know how rare that is with women in general. And I don't have a ton of experience in the dance world, but even I know that it can be incredibly competitive, even among the adults. So the fact that I was made to feel as though I had always been a part of this class meant everything to me, and it still does. I have even teared up in this class already, which I know is probably a big shocker to hear, but a couple of days ago in rehearsal, I had 3 different ladies come up to me and tell me how proud they are of the work I've done. And then yesterday in rehearsal, I was sitting off to the side and our instructor came up and she said that she was so impressed with me and that she can't believe that I only just joined this class because I dance as though I've been with them this entire time. And then the ladies in class all started clapping and cheering for me. And I was so touched, but so freaking embarrassed. And I was just trying so hard not to burst into tears. But the moment was so nice and just so incredibly special to me. When I joined this class and ended up creating this goal for myself to learn and perform this choreography, I assumed that I would be doing it alone. But I was never alone in this experience. I had the other ladies to lean on for help or questions or even videos of steps that I couldn't figure out in class. And they are absolutely a big part of the reason why I am feeling so prepared, because of their support. These ladies have only known me for a month and a half, but that's just how this group is. They support each other, joke together, laugh together, and we even had a champagne toast after Monday's rehearsal just to celebrate us, like just to pat ourselves on the back. So, yes, I have gotten to reconnect with myself through tap dance again. That's something that I had wanted to do for years. And yes, it has been so much fun to experience that part of myself again. But my biggest takeaway from this whole experience will absolutely be the friends that I have made along the way, as cheesy as that sounds. And just because my performance is on Friday doesn't mean I'm done. There's no way that's happening. These ladies are now stuck with me for the long haul. In fact, I think I'm even going to branch out a little bit and try taking a ballet class over the summer. And then who knows from there? Maybe I will eventually join all of the tap ladies in their adult jazz class next season. I don't know. We shall see. But regardless, I am going into Friday's performance feeling ready, feeling so proud of myself, and feeling so very, very grateful for this little community that I stumbled upon. So with all of that in mind, I think it'll be a really great show. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Just Because Diaries. I love reading your emails, so shoot me a message anytime about anything at all to thejustbecauseddiaries@gmail.com. Also, give me a follow on Instagram @thejustbecauseddiaries. And finally, it would mean the world to me if you could please take a few seconds to rate and review my podcast by hitting that 5-star button and leaving me a little love note in the review section. And please share this episode with a friend who you think might enjoy being part of this budding community. Thank you so much again for listening. I so appreciate you being here, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.